Hello again there, everybody. This is not going to be a Jund League. This is going to be the ManaTraders May series, which is, again, Modern. Finally, it's Modern's turn again after cycling through. I think it was Pioneer and Legacy recently in the last 2 months, but we're back at Modern, which I'm pretty excited about. This is the exact same list that I am a combined 14-1 with, which the one loss was to an unfortunate mana situation. So all in all, a very good record with this particular list. Bone Crusher has been the experiment, and I think it's really been pulling its weight in this iteration. I think one of the reasons why I've been doing so well with this list is there's lots and lots of burn that this deck can put together out of nowhere. So traditionally, the opponent doesn't really become within burn range until they're at like 3 to 5. But I've burned people down from like 8+ with this configuration. We've got 4 Bolt, 3 Ren and 6, 2 Croxa, Bone Crusher, and Kolaghan's commands, all as ways to just do direct damage to the opponent's face, which is a pretty good way to steal a game if you're gonna usually be 1 turn short versus maybe you would have been 1 turn short is what I'm trying to say. And then instead you just burn their face and win. So I've definitely had a few games where that has occurred, where I would have been too slow, but then Kolaghan's command shock you, buyback Bone Crusher, shock you. That combination has won me a few games so far. So that's one aspect of this list that I really like. So I'm just gonna run it back and see how we can do. One thing to note though, since we are playing some of the ManaTraders qualification matches, we're going to be playing against other people who are also trying to qualify. So I expect the format to be much more narrow than what we're used to. I expect people to really be playing what they think is the best deck. So while I don't necessarily think this is the best deck, I want to get good data on Bone Crusher Giant, so I'm going to run it and see what kind of information we can grab. So again, the format is going to be looking a little bit more different than the average league. So while we usually take this metagame breakdown with a grain of salt, we're going to take it with an even smaller grain of salt than usual. Because again, this usually reflects leagues more than anything. I think we're going to see Heliod Company, Blitz, E-Tron, and probably a little bit of Jund Shadow too. I think these are probably the best 4 decks, so we'll probably see these 4 the most, and it makes sense they're 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think it's going to be abnormal for us to see any of the remaining 15, but I definitely think these top 4 are going to be in significantly high numbers than what these percentages may suggest. So just something to keep in mind. I guess I have to queue for the ManaTraders a little bit differently than I usually would. I have to like ask for a match and then I'm queuing. All right. Continue with full prizes. My deck is ready. Surprised it's going to be 100% Jund mirrors. I mean, Bone Crusher Giant is probably pretty excellent in the Jund mirrors, so can't say I'd be super upset about that. All right, so we have to go. We are joining the match, not creating. So we go to constructed, modern tournament practice. We are looking for someone named Juju Bean 2004. I'm assuming this is them. Yeah. Oh wait. Cancel. I'm hoping that I have the correct deck selected. I might not. Let's hope that it is though. All right. We by luck had the correct deck selected, and this hand is excellent. Let's keep. We get to be on the play to Thoughtseize. We can run in 6 on 2 or Stomp. So again, we're immediately playing against Heliod, which is something that I said it'd probably be right for us to expect. I think I'm going to take the Heliod here. It's the card that I can't actually deal with removal. I'm assuming the opponent is going to then play their Arbor Elf, and then we can run in 6, ping it down, and then on the following turn, we can Thoughtseize again to maybe take their Ranger Captain. Just 10-0 qualifiers for max ManaTraders value. To actually qualify for the prizes, you need to have played in at least 20 matches. You can still qualify for the actual event, going 7-3, but you're not eligible for prizes until you play 20. Bolt is nice, but let's just get this run in 6 down. I could just get basic Forest here. It doesn't cast the red part of Bone Crusher or Thoughtseize or Bolt. If I fetch Shock and cast this Thoughtseize, I'm putting myself to 13, which is kind of low, but probably fine. So let's get... I guess I'm fetching Basic Swamp next turn, so let's do Stomping Ground now. Has the opinion for Ren and 6 shifted at all? I know that you kind of had a low opinion on them for a while. Yeah, it's shifted. I think I have been able to use the minus pretty often. I think Ren and 6 tends to be less good when you're only reliably using the first mode. But if you're flip-flopping between the two modes, I think it can be excellent. And there's definitely a lot in the format right now where the second mode is good. So I think Ren and 6 is well positioned at the moment, and I think it might just be great. Alright, so they have found Collected Company and the Ranger Captain. I feel forced to take the Collected Company, leave the opponent with some lands. And then Goyf was a pretty excellent draw because we're going to just be able to deploy a pretty quick clock here. I mentioned getting Basic Swamp. I don't think that plan has changed. Go. As expected. So we can bolt that out of the way. We'll still have the Bone Crusher to stomp whatever it is they get. So push is interesting. It's possible I'm going to want to save the bolts just to go face. I would love to get this Ravine down tapped, but what I think I would rather prioritize is use the Fatal Push on the Ranger Captain and then just play a Bone Crusher as a 4/3 to apply additional pressure. So I think that's the plan. So that means I need an untapped land, so I'm going to plus on the Ren and 6. And I guess I'm just going to get another Basic Swamp. Basic Forest I think is probably the worst land in the deck. So we need Revolt. Let's just get a Swamp. Cast this, target that. They'll respond by sacking it. I guess not. All right, yeah. Let's just cast. Let's just cast a 4/3. Hit for 5. And I'm feeling like we're in a pretty good spot here. The opponent would have to find a Coco and hit pretty much the nuts for us to fall behind here. Cool. Heliodic, hey, the reason you picked up Deicide for your blue-white control deck in case they ever decide to hunt down Paper Magic again. Yeah, if you're really concerned about a specific matchup, I definitely think having specific pieces to help fight it is probably good. Alright, so Engineer is going to be great for disrupting combo. I like the Wildfires. You can kill a Utopia Sprawled land. That's just about the only use, but it might just be better than something else in the main deck. I like Brutality. It kills most things and can also take Company if we've got the read on a Company. And then Push is also a reasonable choice. I don't think I want any of these. They don't search a lot, right? They're really not like Court of Calling, or they're not really Domri's Calling most of the time. If we see some of those cards, then maybe I bring the Ashiok in. And then they're not really graveyard centric, so I don't think I'm bringing in Spell Bombs. Alright, things to take out. I'm going to cut some of the top end versus the combo deck. I think I'm also going to be cutting some of the Croxas. Croxa is also kind of a 4-drop, so I like trimming off trimming off some of the 4s in this way. We would need 4 more cuts. I like cutting some of the more expensive removal. I think I'm going to cut 1 Kolaghan's Command. I don't think buying back a creature is going to be super relevant. I think the best one on this is probably going to be the Shock, and then Bone Crusher does that better. I think it's probably pretty safe to trim on some of the Lilianas. On the draw, they tend to be weaker. On the play, I may bring them back. This has me needing 1 more cut. Don't think it can be any of the 1 mana stuff. It could even just be an Inquisition. They are pretty bad versus things like Veil of Summer, but all of the black spells can't really go around that. Thing is, like, Liliana is pretty important to kill the Auriok champions. Yeah, maybe on the draw these wildfires just aren't good enough, because like the only thing that I plan on using them for is for hitting the Utopia Sprawled lands, and on the draw it's not even that good. It's pretty tempo negative. Kind of want to just cut other Kolagon's command, to be honest. Let's do that. With Bone Crusher, you can cast the adventure part, then the creature from exile. Yes, correct. You can't do it the other way around. Oh, wow. So if we can find a green source, if we can find a fetch land, this hand becomes pretty cool. I'm gonna keep... most of our 1-mana spells are good draws, and most of our lands are good draws, and that feels like over half of the deck. Your binder's about half of it dedicated to different sideboard cards for Storm John, blah 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 blah. Literally just because I have no idea what meta's gonna be, yeah. Alright, well Gwaif was not one of our good draws, unfortunately. This could be a quick game. So this is awkward now, because now if we play our Ren and 6 to ping this, they can just attack the Ren down. We did hit it. Let's still do it, I think. Letting the opponent company on the turn coming up seems like it's going to be pretty bad for me, so let's just get this thing out of the way. And then if they somehow don't play another creature, we get to Liliana Edict. I don't think that's going to be the case, but you never know. Maybe they play an X1 that I can just play Engineer. Like, if they just go Auriok Champion, I'll probably Engineer, naming whatever Auriok Champion is. Mentor, yep. Bone Crusher, okay. That's an interesting one. So if I Liliana Edict them, they could sack the Ranger Captain, then they can play their Ballista as a 2/2. The alternative is really just play Bone Crusher to stomp this. I could also just play a Tarmogoyf, which is the least interactive thing I could be doing, but it also just blocks their creatures pretty well. Thing is, like, if I play Liliana Edict, that's the worst thing I can do against specifically Veil of Summer. But the Liliana Edicts are not getting much better. So I think I'm gonna take the highest upside, highest risk play. Because, like, if I just stomp a Conclave Mentor, I'm not really pulling ahead. And if they've got the Veil, it's just gonna be unfortunate, but there's not much I can do about it. Yeah. They didn't play Ballista, so that's got to indicate that they've got the Collected Company, right? Unfortunately, I can only hold up a Stomp. If they company into the combo, we'll just die anyway, because it's gonna the whatchamacallit is gonna enter with an additional counter. So I guess what we're doing here is playing Tarmogoyf, holding up Stomp. It's not great, but I don't think I've got a much better line here. If they company end of turn, I'm gonna have to Stomp the this in response. That still has me dying to combo, but I can't beat the combo with the current hand anyway. At least responding here means that if they don't hit the combo and they do hit something that would enter with a counter, it at least doesn't have another counter. I mean, it's not super likely they just hit both combo pieces, but it's definitely possible. Alright, so stomping in response looking a little smart. We could still just die to them drawing the Heliod, though. Sure. So their hand is Ballista and one unknown. They're attacking. So what this looks like is they want to use the ballista to trade for the Goyf. There is not yet an artifact in the yard though. So if they play this for 2 and then do the last 2 points, Goyf actually grows, right? So maybe that's not what's happening here. I mean, I think I am gonna block regardless. It could just be another company. Oh, they're gonna move counters to it, sure. This is actually kind of good for me though. If they use this spike feeder, we can play engineer naming spike. Okay, they're not gonna though. Sure. I mean this makes Liliana's better. We got to kill something effectively. Obviously another Veil is gonna mess this up, but not much I can do about it. I could play the Plague Engineer to shut off combo, but they can just ballista down the Plague Engineer. So this looks like a Liliana turn. And then hope an Edict actually resolves. Got Veil number 2. Okay. So they just wanted to keep the 5/5. I guess that makes some sense. I guess I'll have this come in tapped. I could shock it to draw a card. Does that shorten the opponent's clock at all? They get to play this as a 6/6 as is. They can attack me for 5 and 5 and put a counter. So it actually does change the clock. So I need this to come in tapped. So there you go. So we're not in danger of the combo short of a company anymore. I've drawn lots of my more expensive stuff. Well, I mean, I kept a hand with a lot of my expensive stuff, so we went into this knowing it'd be a little clunky. Engineer does have Death Touch, so they're at least forced to get it out of their way somehow. Maybe with the ballista that we know about. They're just going at me, sure. Maybe they're just gonna ping it off, ping the Liliana off with one of the ballista counters. Ballista for 1. Spike feeder. Interesting. It's weird that they're letting me get another plus with this Liliana. They'll no longer be able to ping it, and then they have to attack it, or else I get to edict them again. I guess they could ping it on the way out, so that way we're short of an edict again. I do think I want to plus it, though. I guess we'll ditch Plague Engineer, the first copy. The 4th Spike Feeder. Alright, so, I mean, we can stomp this. They can remove the counters in response, or even move the counters over. Or I guess they can't move the counters over. They'll get to avoid the they'll get to avoid us having access to the second Bone Crusher. And then now what I get to do is I get to play the Plague Engineer on 1 to make sure this can't grow. And then the Plague Engineer also just blocks the Ranger Captain pretty well. So we're going to name Construct. Okay. So, I mean, now that that's gone, we don't actually have to name Construct anymore. I forget what Auriok champion is. Let me look it up real fast. I think it's a human, right? It's like a human something. Human cleric? Let's name cleric. I am still gonna trade if they want to let me trade. I mean, if we can have them draw bricks for a draw step or 2 in a row, maybe we can get something going. We've got a Liliana in play, a Bone Crusher in exile on an adventure. They do have 1 cycle from the canopy. Yeah, there's no more spike feeders. That's correct. Looks like they may have hit a company, though, which would be brutal. Oh, it's another ranger. I guess they actually have to tap their forest to do it. Found another ballista. Yep. Brutal. Big draw step. That takes the ballista. So we get to Inquisition first. And then Liliana will take the last card no matter what it is. It's a land. Alright, well, definitely going to plus. Alright, and we've somehow stabilized here. And again, we can't just get comboed as all of the spike feeders are gone. We could still certainly lose to just a value Heliod. So we're not out of the woods yet. Sure. That's funny. This is when Cleansing Wildfire would look kind of good, right? How many ballistas in their deck? I'm honestly not sure. I know it varies kind of widely. At least 2. I know 2 has been a fairly like normal number. Ooh, we drew a bolt. So we can now bolt the smaller ranger, edict the other one. Jam for 6. We're ahead. It's getting interesting. And I suppose now would be a good time to sacrifice the peatland, because if I find something to play at 2 mana, I'm going to want to just play it. Jam. Alright, so company is our enemy now. The opponent has used 1 already. Uh-oh. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. Alright, well, I mean, it could obviously be a company, but I don't think I am in a real position to play around it. Every attack I don't get in just allows them more time to actually find the company. So I think I will just jam here and then hope it's not a company. Just looking through this, you didn't see any with more than 2. Yeah, so yeah, maybe they're out of ballistas and spike feeders. It is a company, brutal. Yeah, I mean this was the one card we're afraid of. They hit Heliod, Auriok Champion, which was naming Cleric. Okay. They're at 8, so we do actually get to kill them next turn by playing the Stark Confidant, so let's do it. So if they draw a land here, we've got them dead. That's an elf druid, not a cleric. Alright, any removal spell kills. Any removal spell kills. That's not it. I mean, I guess we still just attack all. Though if they trade with the Bob, they go to 2. Still has them dead. Coming up. I mean, I think I have to attack all, because otherwise they could just not block. I don't know that all of this mana necessarily means something. Yeah, you can give this lifelink. Sure. Yeah, your thing is dying no matter what. So you're gonna go to 3 here. Put a counter on Heliod. Yep. Land go. So if you draw a land, you die. Company is still pretty scary. Excellent. Alright, so now we're a combined 16 and 1. Sorry, 15 and 1. Let's get the second match queued up. We got to do it over on the ManaTraders website. Yeah, I mean, Bone Crusher definitely performed well there. Does them blocking the Bob make sense? Seems like the line should have been to block Bone Crusher. That way they had a better chance to get another turn. So they were at 8. They were gaining 1 up to 9, but taking 4 going to 5. So yeah, they would have had an additional turn off of that 1 life. I like your line. That said, I'm happy they did it the other way, right? Alright, so I am joining the match again. We are getting matched with someone named Thalia Go. I don't know how many matches I'm going to be doing as far as this recording is concerned. It's probably going to be between 3 and 4, maybe 5. I got work tomorrow, so we'll see how late the first 3 or 4 take me. Waiting for Thalia Go. There you are. Yeah. We get to go first again. How lucky. We've got a keeper. So, if there's nothing to kill on the first turn here, I'm going to wish I had played the Verdant so I can get that done with painlessly. But I may also just want the Revolt for the push, so I'll still eat on Black Leave. No Companion, Mold of 5. Hopefully it's not Tron. Feels like it might be Tron. Which is a matchup we have not yet faced with this list, and I think it will not be good for us if it is Tron. Alright. Just go like turn 1 Glistener Elf or something, please. Oh, it's Dredge. Dredge is not good either. We've got a good number of sideboard cards, though, for the graveyard decks. It's a fine hit. So we're going to have to get on the lucky side. Ox and Meyer. So far, not the worst that could have happened. We would like them to just not hit a Dredger, which would be the ideal scenario. No, they hit it. What's up, Evil Boon? We're trying to gen them out. So they're playing Thrilling Discovery, which is the new tech. Basically just another version of the draw 3, but gain 2 life. Alright, so yeah, they're going off officially. So we're gonna have to face down an Ox coming pretty soon. If only Dredge would just lay down. I mean, it's pretty popular right now, right? It was in the top 15. This is like a Cathartic Reunion or a Thrilling Discovery. Yeah. This card's very good. Obviously, the mana is a little bit worse, but it's probably just strictly better than Cathartic Reunion. You don't have to like ditch the cards as a cost, right? So it's better versus counter spells. Well, luckily they don't have any creatures in play yet, but that's looking like it's going to change pretty soon. I think I'm just going to play a 4/3. It's really the only thing I've got access to right now. Creeping Shell should be on the shortlist for a ban from a Salty Burn player. Yeah, I mean, it's like one of those cards where you can never do anything fair with it, right? Yeah, it is pretty resilient. It's like, what do you ban out of Dredge at this point? Like they've got basically 3 cards that do each job, so it's like you'd have to ban 3 things that all do the same job to like neuter it effectively, I would suppose. Just ban the mechanic Dredge. Or like errata it so it does something much worse. Put 5 other cards from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. Alright, so they're gonna get a crap ton of stuff back here. Oh, they are on the thing above the bed frame in the cubicle looking thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
You put them somewhere they were gonna break, so I moved them. Yeah, I mean, Dredge was a thing even before Creeping Chill, but I really went into turbo mode with it. Yeah, Loam is interesting. Yeah, Creeping Chill is really... It's like, assuming they get through, like, half of their deck, they start at 26 and we start at 14, which is pretty brutal. So, I mean, I'm not winning this game by holding back, but I also need to fend off these things. So I think what's going to happen here is attack for 4. Like, plan on bolting one of these and stomping an Archamoeba. It's really not good. But there's nothing that I have that's actually good. I'm playing neither Skoos nor Clothis. My sideboard is very, very slanted towards beating decks like this, though, so we should be fine games 2 and 3. Yeah, I think with playing Kroxa, the deck's mana becomes very awkward, also needing lots of green for the Scavenging Ooze, and then Ooze is also pretty fragile. I think between the two, I would prefer Clothis just because it's much harder to deal with, and it's a slam dunk in a lot of matchups. That said, I also think it's pretty slow. Like, if you have Clothis versus Dredge, they probably still just kill you. Yeah, I'm gonna likely push the Jellyfish and bolt a Prized Amalgam, which has me taking 4 down to 5 now. Oh, this is gonna get much harder. This is getting much harder. Yeah, this was a fairly ideal Dredge game plan, even off the mold of 5. It's like, now, right, we can push the Jellyfish, bolt an Archamoeba, get it for 5 going to 4. We're taking 2 just off of the air. They've got Conflagrate in the yard already. Let's just pack it in and save the world some time. Alright, look at the sideboard that we're about to bring in, though. Kalidas. Come on, deck. Let me bring in my cards. Alright, well, I would love to bring in my sideboard cards if Magic Online will allow me. Okay, here we go. On the play, I like the Brutality to take the Cathartic Reunion effects. Oop. Let's do that. So yeah, 10 cards. Pretty good. We've also got some good ones in the main. Let's for sure take out the Lilianas. For sure take out the Croxas. For sure take out Terminate. I also like cutting probably just all the pushes. How's this look? That looks clean. If Dredge hit the point of being everywhere, would Spellbomb make sense in the main? There have been times where I think Spellbomb is just good in the main. It's a cool card because its floor is 2 mana draw card, and I mean cards that you can cycle for pretty cheap. They're never terrible, but I mean sometimes you just don't have the time to pump 2 mana into a cantrip, right? Saying Reed has 1 main cow a while. Oh, main deck. I was like, main cow, what? Main deck in a while, maybe cut a Ren. The Ren and 6s I think are still better than any of these things, is the issue. Right, Ren still has some okay purposes. Like, it can kill Narcomoebas without having to spend a real removal spell on them. It can like sometimes make the Bloodghast awkward. You can maybe cycle it with some of our lands. So I still think it's better than the random gobbledygook. Alright, yeah, let's go first. Don't think we can keep this. We don't have a powerful sideboard card. Thoughtseize is promising, but this hand is just missing too much. We're missing a sideboard card and a threat. So I don't think we can keep. Ooh. This hand is interesting. I think I'm inclined to keep this. Gwaif is one of my better cards in the matchup just because it's the fastest clock I've got access to. This doesn't have a good sideboard card, but this, as far as main deck cards are concerned, this is, I think, as ideal as it gets. Let's bottom the Bolt. Ravine go. We could definitely just get run over, but it's hard to mulligan double Gwaif, I think. Yeah, K-Command also not that good, but sometimes you need the burn. Alright, let's, I guess, thin the deck. Maybe draw a sideboard card. Get down a clock. They could Lava Axe, which would be unfortunate. Yeah, double Goyf, I think. If we had one Goyf, I think it becomes closer. But double Goyf is really tempting. Yeah, Kolaghan's Command I think is pretty interesting in the matchup. I don't think it's good. Like, I'd probably take it out if I have more things to bring in. But I just don't have enough to bring in. I mean, I've already brought in 10 cards. There are just 10 cards that I think are worse than Kolaghan's Command. Alright, can you brick on a Dredge 4, please? Damn it. Ready for the Narcomoeba? They've been 2 Lightning Axes. I guess they didn't hit another Dredge card. So they have 2 Amalgams in the yard, which is dangerous. I mean, Goyf is big now. This looks like play another Goyf, attack for 4, play a land. I mean, this is why double Goyf was so tempting to me. They're going to be at 13 already. Obviously, Creeping Chills can change this pretty quickly. You play Burn and Dimir Wurza. Okay, Command hurts you so much. Yeah, Kolaghan's Command does have its matchups where it's just like the best thing you could be doing, right? There are a lot of matchups where Kolaghan's Command is one of the best things you could be doing. 3 mana is a lot, though. Getting horny. You just live for the moments when you play Gem against a friend with blue-white and you get to command the Batter Skull. Oh, those are great. Oh, they actually had 3rd copy of Lightning Axe. Brutal. Alright, more lands, pretty unfortunate. Let's attack for 4. Alright, so they got to bin another Dredger, which is unfortunate. I think I'm just playing a 4-3 here. Present lethal next turn. I mean, they're pretty likely to get some creatures back. The good thing, at least, is that Amalgams come in tapped, so as long as they don't hit an Narcomoeba to actually be able to block... I should have shut my mouth, huh? They haven't hit an Ox yet, have they? Alright. Well, we still actually have them dead on board, because we can attack with Ravine as well. Please don't hit more blockers. Alright, they didn't hit more blockers. They also didn't hit a Creeping Chill, which is nice. Really interesting that they have triple Lightning Axe. I don't think Lightning Axe is even particularly good. Doesn't kill Tarmogoyf anymore. We're at 5-6 now. They've milled a Shriekhorn. Bloodghasts cannot block. They got 4 cards left. They could definitely just play something and have that be annoying. Yeah. 2 Amalgams back. Spot removal would actually be pretty good here. Ooh. That's pretty good too. So it looks like what I'm doing here is attack both. They have to block. My guess would be Stinkweed Imp jumps in front of Tarmogoyf. Unfortunately, they've got all of their stuff in play already, so Ashiok looks a lot worse. I mean, they're going to get to trade with this, and then Bone Crusher gets blocked by an Amalgam coming up, so this is not looking great. The alternative line is I just attack with the Bone Crusher, but then they can pretty easily just chump with an Archamoeba. It's pretty brutal, unfortunately. I think I have to attack both and then Spellbomb afterwards. Yeah, I don't think I've got access to a much better line, unfortunately. Them just having a Death Toucher is being very problematic here. I wish Bone Crusher had one more toughness. Yeah, I mean, Kolaghan's Command would be very good here, because we need to get a Goyf back, right? Alright, so Do I mill myself or mill them? Probably just mill them. If I find a Kolaghan's command to get my Tarmogoyf back, having stuff in the yard may mean that Goyf gets to be bigger longer, but they've got Shriekhorn. They're probably just going to get it going again anyway. Let's target them. We hit double Creeping Chill Narcomoeba. Okay, well I guess I'm glad that I hit them. Alright, I mean that was a good mill and we get to exile their yard, but like again, they've already got their payoffs in play, which is really gonna complicate things. We're just not gonna forget about this ravine. Yep, can you brick please? Conflagrate Thrilling Discovery? That's kind of a brick. I mean, they can conflagrate for 4 now and just kill Ashiok and hit me for 7. Or sorry, 8. Put me to 11. But they can't attack all because they are just dead on board. Counting the ravine. Because 4 plus 4 is 8 last time I checked. So they've got to at least be a little smart about it. And then maybe they want to at least attack the Ashiok. This is going to be an interesting turn. I think worst case would be fetch, conflagrate, have an Ox, but I mean they can't actually fetch until Ashiok dies, right? They're just sending everyone at Ashiok. Okay. You know what I really want to draw here is my Kalidas. That would be sick. Shock. Wow. This is double red. I mean, now the opponent has opened up the window to us where any burn spell also works if one of our creatures can connect. So, I mean, 5 is pretty precarious. We're definitely in it. But there are a lot of things that could go wrong here, I think. This looks like Conflagrate for 4. Which would put 6 cards in the yard. I guess they can't escape an Ox. They're 1 card short, right? Because that you would bin 4 cards, they'd have a total of a 6 in the yard. You can't exile the Ox to casting itself. So they are 1 card short of Ox. I guess they could go after the Bone Crusher, but then Bone Crusher hits them for 2 and we kill them with the Ravine. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to try to kill you with the Ravine. They've already milled 3 copies of Lightning Axe. What are the odds they've got another? I guess Lightning Bolt would do it too, but they're just never playing Lightning Bolt, right? Oh, that's good, right? So now... No, they're just dead. Yeah, they have 0 in hand. They're just dead. So they put themselves dead. I will accept the terms and conditions. Yeah, they tunnel visioned. I think you're right. Yeah, Bone Crusher dealing 2 was definitely relevant. Yeah, I mean, that's what I said. Like, I didn't mulligan to 5 because I thought double Tarmogoyf would just be good enough, and it looked like it was. Don't think I want to make any changes. I think I'm just going to run it back and hope for a Spell Bomb early. Okay, Ravine. There's only 1 copy of Ravine in the deck now. Because I wanted to play an additional cycling land to combo with the Renin 6. And because I don't want to play a lot of comes into play tap lands, so I've only got 2. The Forgotten Cave and the 1 Ravine. This is why we play Treetop Village. Now, Treetop Village would be really bad in this deck, I feel. Basic Forest is already the worst land in the deck. And if you want to play a tapped Basic Forest... Oof. Also oof on this hand. I think I've got a ship. Ooh. Ooh. This hand is nice. I don't even know what to bottom here. I think it's going to be Plague Engineer. I'm definitely keeping the Ashiok, the Thoughtseize, the Spellbomb, and the 2 lands. So the decision becomes between the Plague Engineer and the Ashiok. The thing is, Ashiok is going to be good at killing things like Bloodghast, whereas Ashiok is not going to be as good if the opponent already has something going. This is really, really close. I think I'm definitely Thoughtseizing on 1. If they play Treecorn on 1, that could change. I think since we're on the draw and we've got Spellbomb Kalidas, I'm incentivized to keep the Engineer since it's going to be better from behind. So I'll bottom the Ashiok, which feels weird. I don't think I've ever said bottom the Ashiok versus Dredge. So we're going to hope that their payoff costs 2 and we can snipe it. Probably eat the Engineer. I think I like keeping the Engineer for the reasons I outlined. I think it's going to be better from behind. And we're on the draw, so I think we're more likely to be behind than ahead by the time we hit 3 mana. Not a good draw. Alright, let's Thoughtseize. And hope they've only got 1 payoff. And before Veil of Summer. If they've got 2 payoffs, it's going to suck. They've got Chill, Thug, Narcomeal, Amalgam, Stinkweed Nip. This hand doesn't do anything. Why do they keep this? Not taking a Dredge card. So it's between Narcomoeba and Creeping Chill. I guess Creeping Chill they get to just cast at some point, but they actually just get to cast Narcomoeba next turn. I don't want to name Illusion with Engineer. I guess let's take Narcomoeba. I don't know why they kept this 7. You know why they kept it? Because they knew they'd get lucky and draw it. That's why they kept it. They just know that the Creeping Chill is on top. Not the Creeping Chill, the Cathartic Reunion or that new red-white one. I mean, if we get to untap with the Spellbomb in play, we're pretty safe from most of their payoffs. Did they really draw it? Oh, they drew a Loam. Okay. Get back a land. Alright, we want to see lands, because we want to be able to get to our Engineer and our Kalidas. Perfect. I guess let's play... I guess it doesn't really matter. And I'm going to let them dredge the Loam, I think. If something insane happens, I can always respond to it. Yeah, Black Source off the top hits us Kalidas on turn 4. So I'm assuming they're going to dredge a Loam. They hit an Imp. They're not going to cast a Loam here. If I were them, I'd probably cast the Loam. And then it becomes interesting about whether or not I want to just hit all of the lands or hit the Loam and let them have the lands. I think I'm going to hit the Loam and let them have the lands. Oh, they're just casting an Imp. That's funny. I mean, we can Engineer naming Imp so this can't hit us or block anything profitably. The question now becomes, do I want to pop the Spellbomb? If I don't pop the Spellbomb here and I play Engineer next turn, I'm not going to be able to draw the card off of the Spellbomb. And I think this card is pretty valuable because it maybe maybe what helps us dig towards second black for our Kalidas. I feel like this is the turn that's going to decide the game. So they've got the Imp in the yard. Second Imp doesn't do a whole lot in terms of blocking stuff if we've got the Engineer. It's pretty close. I think I am on the fence about it, but I think I'm actually leaning towards just using the spell bomb now. I think hitting this land on time is going to be ridiculously important. Alright, cool. We drew a stomp. So I believe I'm just going to engineer now. I could just play Bone Crusher as a 4-3, and that actually sounds pretty attractive. Because when I play Bone Crusher as a 4-3, I can then next turn play Kalitas, attack for 4. And that would have my Bone Crusher dying, but it would have their Imp getting exiled and then me gaining life. Or sorry, getting a zombie. And then if I can then activate Kalitas before we can get Lightning Axed, that seems good. So I think I'm just going to play this as a 4-3. Maybe it is still better to engineer, though. I think I'm going to engineer, and this is why. If they find Lightning Axe, engineer may be something they're willing to blow it on as opposed to the Kalitas. And then when I play the Kalitas, I can stomp this afterwards, and this doesn't get to trade at all. So I think I like just playing the engineer here and naming Imp. Alright, let's see if Kalitas can be good. So we know their hand. The fourth card that wasn't listed is a loam. Oh, did you draw the Thrilling Discovery? That's problematic. So I get to discard Amalgam Thug and Loam. This was a really good draw for the opponent. Any discovery type effect was definitely their best hit. There goes what we expect. They hit another Imp and a Lightning Axe and the Narcomoeba. Luckily, it wasn't ridiculous. I mean, I definitely think I'm slamming the Kalitas here. Do I just get second basic swamp? Ooh, that becomes interesting, but I still think this is the turn where I want to sneak the Kalitas in. Am I attacking for 2? I don't see a reason to not to. I guess they could block with Imp, which would put another Dredge card on the yard. Right now they only have a Dredge 3 in here. I think I'm not attacking then. Yeah, exactly, Evil Boon. Like if they were to get Force of Negations or just otherwise countered, that they don't lose their hands to it. So getting basic swamp means that I won't have lots of red, but I think I'm just going to save as much life as I possibly can. And we're going to really hope they don't just find the Lightning Axe for this. I guess now I can attack, because if they block, their thing will just get exiled. Alright, Kalitas, do your thing, please. If they dredge here, they're not looking for a Lightning Axe. Okay. Them not hitting a Conflagrate is also pretty big, because Conflagrate would be another way to deal with Kalitas. So this is whenever it deals damage to a creature, destroy that creature. It's not whenever it blocks a creature. They're doing Forgotten Cave, Arid Mesa, Mountain. They played the... Stomping Ground, yeah. Did you find another Lightning Axe? This is maybe digging towards it. We'll see if they dredge here. They did dredge and they hit double Creeping Chill. Jeez. So they've got a mountain in their hand. take 1. I mean, now we get to stomp the imp, which would exile it. Alternatively, I could just play second Plague Engineer. Yeah, the dream would have been another land so we can grow the Kalitas out of the Lightning Axe range, but I mean, Blackleaf Cliff's the exact land we don't want to see. I do think whatever I do here has to result in one of their things dying. We can't kill the Prized Amalgam. So I think what I want to do here is probably... I guess Engineer means that next turn we can stomp and play something. Also, like, next turn, stomping now means that next turn we can't both activate Kalitas and play an Engineer. So I think I'm leaning towards Engineer. Because, again, that means that next turn we can activate and interact. So I'm going to Engineer naming what? Probably just Narcomoeba, or I guess Illusion. And then attack for 3. I guess we can attack for 3 first. You think killing the imp is best? I mean, 1 already neuters it well enough. A concern is, though, that they get rid of my my Plague Engineer and they get turned back on, right? I think I'm leaning towards engineering on the Narcomoeba, but I'm going to attack first. And then I almost wonder if I should attack with this Engineer. Like, they can block with the Amalgam, that has us dealing with the Amalgam, and then we've got second Engineer. I think it's probably too greedy, and then I should just keep their stuff turned off. Gain 3. See, we play Creeping Chills of our own sometimes. Play a Blackleaf Cliffs. And I could just pass. But again, I think I want to play the Engineer. We'll name Illusion, right? Get us a zombie. Kalitas is putting in some work. Yeah, it's on Imp. It's an 0-1. God, you wish Imp was a vampire? Not exactly. So they've got Mountain in hand. That's all we know of. They didn't hit a Cathartic Union, which is pretty big. I think Cathartic Union would be the way that they realistically get back in this. They could have it in hand, but I guess they can't, right? Because they've dredged every turn, getting back Forgotten Cave, Gorge, and Mesa. All right, so they're really digging for it. They can cycle, try to hit another axe. So they've got at least 2 more on the deck, and this is the last window where it could actually kill a Kalitas, right? Unless they're just dredging here. They milled the Lightning Axe. You know, like the Engineer killing all the Bloodghast seems decent. We haven't actually seen any Bloodghasts yet. They may have taken him out. Blow him again. Alright, well, it looks like our Kalitas is about to get out of range. You can't really attack. Go to cleanup. Maybe they discard some Bloodghasts here. No 4 Bloodghasts in the top 40 seems weird unless they just aren't playing them. So yeah, I think my line is pretty predetermined. I'm going to attack with Kalitas, attack with Zombie. I guess what I could do is I could just stomp the Stinkweed Imp and then attack all. What does that look like? If I stomp Stinkweed, attack all, they can put Amalgam in front of an Engineer. They would trade, I'd get another zombie, hit you for 7, put you to 5, I gain 5. That seems pretty good. Let's stomp you, just to get it out of the way so it can't block. Get another zombie. Attack. Kalitas is really doing it here. Yeah, we can cast the other half second main, but the plan here is to activate the Kalitas because the 6th toughness I think is going to be magic, since their only good way of killing it is with a copy of Lightning Axe. So getting it out of Lightning Axe range, I feel, is going to be pretty key. Yeah, Kalidas has lots of text on it. It looks like it just might be good enough to win this match. Yep. I don't know what it would take from this point, but it would take a lot. All right, they hit an Archamoeba. We've got a an engineer on illusion. So if they say yes to this, we just get a zombie out of it. And they say yes so they can get their amalgams back, but they all come tapped. We don't have Huntmaster. Oh, you're saying this is the Huntmaster of 2021. You want me to play Mood Brutality? I've got 2 in the deck currently. I sideboarded them in. Loam back a Mesa, a Mine, and a Forgotten Cave again. They do have a Conflagrate now, which is a way to kill the Kalidas, but then they're just completely dead on board to everything else. And if we really needed it, we've got Bloodbreed. I have played many leagues with Huntmaster on the side. Says the person with Howl in their name, right? Alright, we're 2-0. We're now a combined 16-1 with this list. And again, the one loss was to an unfortunate mana situation, so maybe this is the real deal. It's 2012 if you're dyslexic. Right? We're playing zombies, right? Those are 2/2s. That's basically a wolf. Alright. Man, I'm just trying to make Bone Crusher a standard card in Jund. Oof. So far, so good. Luna? I don't remember which one that is. How's your team? Drink some damn water. I actually need to get water, to be honest. I'm still queuing. That's actually a good thing. I should do. Let me here. Scream at me if it's queued. Still no? Use it as clickbait. Zombie Tribal in 2021 goes 5-0. Basically, right? Yeah? I left the light on. I gotta go turn it off apparently. Ugh. Still no match. Yeah, I love Olivia Valderin. Olivia used to be one of my favorite cards. That's what I should do. I should have like a special edition Jund League where it's just like all of the nostalgic stuff. You get some Olivias and Huntmasters in the sideboard. Oh yeah, I've got Uro in a commander deck as well. I've got 3-color Omnath. That's pretty good there. It's an honorary elemental basically. Olivia, Thundermaw, Hellkite, yeah. Basically just Jund Zoo at that point. It's all the 4 and 5 mana heavy hitters. Boomer Jund, do it. It would be fun. I would not expect it to do well, and who knows? It could be a nice break from all this winning I've been doing. Right? This list has just been so good, and tearing it up with this list. 4-color Omnath Cramp, almost CDH. I have a friend who's got a 4-color. It'll go for the Jund trophy, and we can all die happy. Yeah, I feel like I need to put together a list of just cards that used to be good, and just like see how good it is. Like it can't be that good. Like Olivia Voldaren is obviously not good, but I mean there was a time where it was absolutely fantastic. I think Modern Werewolves the thing. I have a friend who really likes Werewolves. And he played it in Modern for a hot minute. Says, hi, I didn't play Modern in a long time. Is Jund still fine? I think it's pretty fine. I've been doing really well with the list that I'm currently playing. I'm a combined 16-1 now in my most recent 17 matches. I think if you build it right and get good matchups, then you could really tear it up. We are creating the match. We are waiting for someone named Weed97, spelled W-E-D-E. Alright, so Control C, create. You started in Innistrad, so you tried to force Werewolves? Yeah, my friend who built Werewolves, he started in Shadows over Innistrad, so he also loved Werewolves. Yeah.
Is it normal for the CD to rattle in the Xbox?
It can happen when it's like on its side.
I was switching things, like save points or whatever, and it kind of like
It could happen, yeah. As long as it doesn't like fall apart and break, you're fine.
Yeah.
Ooh, this sounds good. Keep. They have mulliganed. You have a big Modern tournament tomorrow in your country, but you have no idea what deck to play. I think the best deck is either Blue-Red Prowess or Heliod. But it's definitely up for debate. So I'm going to have one of these be Blood Crypt, one of them be Stomping Ground, and then I can get Basic Swamp following. I'll get Stomping Ground first, because this makes Blackleaf Cliffs the best possible draw if I find it. Or it makes it the best possible if I find it. Alright, so we'll get Blood Crypt now. Say yes. And then I don't know what they're doing with just Steam Vents tapped, but Renin 6 should be pretty fine. Heliod is too complicated for a new player. It does, I think, have some nuance, but I think for the most part it's fairly straightforward. Alright, so what do we want to do here? I guess I could just cast Kroxa. I'm not super afraid of Blood Moon, although I guess playing around it at this point is kind of free. So let's, I guess we'll just cast Croak, so there's not much better to do. We could hold up Bone Crusher, but we can already hold up Bolt or Push, so this feels fine. Yeah, it could be Blue Moon. Looking like Saheeli combo at this point. I'm thinking Saheeli combo. And this hand is going to be excellent versus Saheeli combo, I feel like. You're thinking Kiki? Yeah, Kiki would envelope into the Saheeli deck. So, yeah, not afraid of Blood Moon here. Just get another duel. And I could just slam the Bloodbraid. Another thing this could, in theory, be is Through the Breach Emrakul. But, I mean, Skyclave, I think, reduces the odds it's that. So I think I'm just going to play a Bloodbraid. Try to get some pressure going. The ideal case here would be it hits an additional threat, or I guess even Inquisition Thoughtseize would be fine. Another threat, cool. It's kind of what we were hoping for. And Goyf has got to be really good versus the blue-red deck, right? Yeah, Skyclave is real good. Charming Prince. Interesting. I mean, we're one turn off of just ultimating Ren and 6. I think what I'm going to do here is Fatal Push the Charming Prince. Cast Kroxa. I can then hold up either Bone Crusher, or sorry, Stomp or Bolt. That seems fine. I mean, in the event that I want to cast something and actually have it work, I may need to avoid counter magic. So let's just lead on push, see if it resolves. And just auto-resolved, cool. We get to bring back a Mire. And then I'm going to be sure to fetch a red source here because I may need to win with the Flurry of Bolts. And then I'll fetch first. So that grows the Goyf, right? Yeah, there you are. So I don't remember who it was. It's someone, Halsey. Yeah, so Halsey, Salty Saint Nick. That's the person who was also building wolves. So y'all can talk. I'm sure y'all have some fun with each other. All right, so fetch. Let's get a mountain. Attack for 5. And then, sorry, 6. Then probably just pass. Yeah, it could also be Discard Soul Herder. That's a good suggestion. So I think I'm just going to pass here. If they play something that I actually care about killing, I don't want to get out-tempoed with like a Remand or something. They're just going to let us ultimate. Wow. Do I throw a Stomp upstairs? So if I throw a Stomp upstairs, that puts them to 9. We then get to attack for 6. Then Bolt just kills them. Let's do it. They could like Cryptic counter bounce, but if that's the case, they're not tapping the team, and then we just get to kill them with the damage that we've got, right? So like any way this occurs, I think it's good for us. How y'all feel about a lot of lightning bolts? So now if they Cryptic tap us, we just bolt them 3 times. I guess Force of Negation could potentially stop this. I'll do it now while they don't have Cryptic available. Okay, cool. Yeah, we did win against a pretty horrendous keep. I'm assuming... I'm still assuming it's some kind of Soul Herder shenanigans. Push probably fine. Engineer probably pretty good. We can kill Soul Herder if it hasn't grown yet. And if they're playing the 2-mana 2-1 with Hideaway, it could be good to disrupt them blinking that. Decklist error? There's no decklist error, is there? I know it's labeled Jund 86, and there's been leagues 87 and 88 since then, but the list hasn't changed. So I just haven't updated the Stream Decker because it's the same list, you know. They're playing 3 colors. I wonder if this is a Ghost Quarter matchup. It could be cute, but probably not great. What are we taking out here? Liliana is probably pretty weak, especially on the draw when they can just really outvalue us and swarm the board. Could be a liability. And then the Inquisitions and Thoughtseizes also seem like they could be pretty weak. Maybe Brutality is better. It does a similar job, but then it can maybe also kill something. This seems fine. Kalitas, I could also see a pretty big argument for. If they can't kill the Kalitas, we just win. But, I mean, things like Skyclave do get rid of it pretty handily. I still like the instant speed burn spells because a lot of their stuff is with blinking their value creatures, and then killing their value creatures before they get to outvalue us seems pretty useful. Ooh, new follow. Who is it? Evil Boon. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. This list won't stop winning. As I say this, watch us get dunked on. Don't I jinx it? Isn't it the reverse jinx, though? Like, if I say I can't lose, this hand's absurd. Like, if I say I can't lose, that's when I lose. But if I say watch me lose, that means I have to win, right? Nice draw. So the lands are what's gonna make this hand awkward, if anything. Should probably just play Blackleaf Cliffs here, so I can bolt whatever they play on turn 2, as long as it's not like a Wall of Omens or something. Shock and pass. Not entirely sure what to make of that. Just more bolts. We've got 13 points of burn right here. They're at 5. Alright, let's get the Ravine down. We can still hold up bolt. Yeah, leading on Ravine also makes some sense. But being so heavy on 1 mana removal means that we're gonna have something to do on turn 2 anyway. So I think the upside of keeping the board empty into maybe playing a threat of our own is good, because if we play a threat of our own, we don't have to be worried about them playing theirs then starting to blink it. Inquisition is an interesting one. I should probably just cast it. I could alternatively just play a 4/3, but I like just seeing what's up here. Something fishy is going on. Maybe this gives away what they've got. If they remand it, I'm just going to cast it again. We can still hold up a bolt via Ravine. And then I'll fetch Shock Overgrown Tomb, assuming I have to recast this. Sure. So, a small thing that I could have done differently is I could have not played the land yet, so they don't have the information that I could fetch to replay it. Maybe that would have influenced their decision to remand or not. Skyclave, Timely, Remand, Bolt, Wall. I think I'm just taking the Skyclave here. I'm short on threats, so the opponent having a way to deal with my threats seems pretty annoying. Wall also annoying, but my threats can punch through it pretty well. I do also just have lots of ways to deal with Skyclave. So I think the two reasonable options here are Remand and Skyclave. Remand is going to be really annoying, but if I can play Bloodbraid next turn, Remand looks pretty silly. I still think I'm just leaning Skyclave. It's the best, most powerful card that they've got access to right now. Like, we could always Brutality next turn and have the option of taking it. There's the wall. Yeah, I'm still assuming this is a kind of Blink deck, right? Like, it kind of has to be. Wall of Omen, Skyclave. It would be pretty wacky otherwise. Alright, well, this is punishing me for having taken not the Remand. I mean, I guess I'll try to take the Remand now. I mean, I guess, like, they would have just Skyclaved the Liliana, so... Like, no matter which way we would have done it, they would have had some way to interact with it. But, I mean, I guess getting a 3-3 off of killing a Skyclave that had taken Liliana is also good. I expect a Remand. Surprise, surprise. Alright, yeah, not hitting the land there was unfortunate, but not the end of the world. Alright. Please, no shenanigans. Didn't hit the land, but I mean, I did find a 1-mana spell. Liliana is going to be pretty weak to a lot of what they can do. Let's just lead on the Inquisition, see where that gets us. Just auto-resolved. They've got Timely, Bolt, and lands. Jeez. I think I'm just going to take the Bolt here, and then I can Brutality to take the Timely. The Timely doesn't actually do anything, but it's going to do something pretty soon, assuming I deploy a creature at some point. Like, also, both of these cards make the Liliana pretty awkward, so I think I should probably just take both of their spells. And I'll lead on taking Bolt, because if I Brutality them, they're just going to respond by bolting me. I could maybe hold the Brutality to pair with something later. But I like emptying their hand now when my best play next turn is Liliana. So they're just lands and a wall in play. They could draw like a Soul Herder would be good. I guess I have the Bolt for it. I played a Tarn. Restoration Angel would be good. Ephemerate would be good. Fortunately, that is none of those things. Let's just hope that they haven't drawn something insane here. If this works, then we'll be pretty happy. Okay. Yeah, I agree we should definitely just get them down to land series. Then they're playing off of the top versus our hand of just all interaction. They played what here? Flooded Strand. Alright, so that was one of the ones we didn't know about. So yeah, maybe they are just mono lands. I do think I want to plus to have an Edict saved up. I don't know what I'm discarding here. I do think I should just cast Bloodbraid here. It's going to be the quickest clock. It's really possible that I just don't need all of these bolts. I should just ditch one. But I mean, Bloodbraid hits here for 3, and then if an attack next turn means that our bolts just kill them immediately. Sad as it may seem, I think I'm going to choose the Bone Crusher. Discarded Bluffs. So I'm so far ahead that I could see that the one way I lose this game be like the opponent goes end of turn Restoration Angel and just like top deck the Kiki, which would suck. But if I'm not playing a threat, I'm just giving the opponent more time to climb back. So I think I've got to take the turn off to actually try to apply some pressure. We hit Kroxa. Well, unless they want to discard a spell, that's going to bolt them. Alright. Well, I guess if they've got Restoration Angel, they get to block this for free, but I'm not going to not attack. because it could be a Restoration Angel. Also, they might have just played the Restoration Angel last turn in response to the Edicts. They could have at least drawn a card off of the wall before sacking it. But that exposes it to my sorcery speed removal. So maybe that's just not the case. This deck is really funky. They haven't done a whole lot yet. And now if they interact with us, we just kill them at instant speed. Yeah. I guess let's attack. And it is Restoration Angel. Okay. I mean, we're gonna Liliana Edict that. So I think I'm just gonna go for all the bolts right now. I mean, what's the absolute worst that can happen? If they remand one of these, we'll just play the land. Pew pew pew. There's a lightning. What is this? Nice. We are a combined 17-1 with this list. And again, the loss was to a Mana Screw. So we're almost 18-0, which is pretty absurd. We need to re-queue. What time is it? 11:20. Oof. This might be my last one. If it's really quick, I'll do a 5th. Luckily, this isn't a league, so I don't need to like run it all at the same time. We are creating the match for We Out Here. Create. That's a GP win. Yeah, pretty much. We have hit peak Juns. Yeah, I mean, I think Bone Crusher has been just actual excellent. Like, it has never been the nuts. It just has been the linchpin. It's like, it's done every job that we've needed, right? So, like any other spell would have done the job in, like, the spots that it... Any other spell that does something similar would have done the job. Like, if we needed to bolt something, Bone Crusher does it fine. But if we needed a threat, Bone Crusher also does it fine. So, like, having one card that can do both has felt really, really nice. Against Loris, this hand seems excellent. Watery Grave. Okay, so... maybe a Shadow variant? It's the Enforcer that doesn't take any credit but just keeps moving. Yeah. So I know Grixis Control, as made popular by Aspiring Spike, has been running around. Taking Fatal Push, though, makes me think that maybe it isn't that. And then I'm going to play the Mire on 1. This Bolt is pretty well disguised, since it's the one card they don't know about, and they don't think we have any more 1-mana removal. It's like, if they play a creature here and we get to bolt it into playing a threat on an empty board, that could be a pretty strong position. Okay. So if they have Mutagenic Growth, they would get to save this, and I would take an additional 3. So I'm gonna take the hit for 1, and then probably just get basic Mountain and bolt this thing. It does look like Grixis Control. I know they do play Stormwing Sprite. If it's Grixis Control and not just some kind of straightforward prowess deck, I'm going to really wish for a painless game plan. So like, if they are playing prowess, I would probably get Mountain. If they're playing just Grixis Control, my life total doesn't matter that much. But them playing Stormwing and lots of bolts and probably Snapcasters means that keeping my life total high probably has some merit. I guess let's just get Stomping Ground here and then try to bolt this thing. If they can save it with like a Mutagenic Growth or something, I can just untap and Bone Crusher it. We've got double black already. Yeah, Stomping Ground, say yes. Zap. Dr. Ligma says taking push probably means 4-color shadow or Grixis Death Shadow. Yeah, I think shadow is still very possible. I know that people like Grixis control these days. Tarmogoth. Yeah, I think it's more likely Grixis Shadow as opposed to 4-color, given the presence of Steam Vents. Islet could still be either. Grixis control only really wants to take the push if they're killing if they've only got 1 or 2 threats and they really need to defend the ones they have. But they're paying life here, right? So I feel like that means Shadow because they had a Dismember. Claim to Fame is interesting. So they can give it +2/+0 and haste if they want. But no, they're going to Dismember. So Stubborn Denial, definitely a concern here. I mean, oh, and Mutagenic Growth. Wow, they're just going in. I was going to say I could stomp it. We would still get blown out by Stubborn Denial. Not because it counters it, but because that would just outsize it. They have 1 card left. Oh, we drew Thoughtseize. That is interesting. I could make sure it's not Stubborn Denial and then next turn Liliana. But Thoughtseize is always going to be good in that we can at least take a Lurrus with it. What are the odds their last card is Stub? It's not unlikely. We haven't given them a reason to take it yet. The only information that we have about their hands is that they were afraid of a Fatal Push 2 turns ago. It's so good for us if we Liliana and it works here. This does give haste, which is pretty scary. I think I'm going to go for the Liliana. We'll almost lose on the spot if it doesn't work. But if it does work, if it doesn't work, we're not just dead. But then they could draw another threat, and that's also bad for us. I think the position that puts us most firmly in the driver's seat is Liliana, Edict, and hope it works. And it looks like it is working. Sick. Because like if we don't do this here and we play it really safe, we Thoughtseize go down to 7. We take a hit for at least 3 down to 4. We die to a lot. I think this is better. I mean, them having Fame is worrisome because they could draw a Shadow and give it haste. Lurrus to hand, we can Thoughtseize that. Delta, sure. Another Bone Crusher. So I think what's going to happen here is I would love to just play a Bone Crusher, but I also want to Thoughtseize them. So what I think I'm going to do here is Thoughtseize first. If they've got a land and something, then they'll just discard the land and Thoughtseize takes whatever anyway. I guess in the event that their hand is there anything that they wouldn't want to discard? It's like this 2 life could matter. If I don't just play a 4/3 here, I could just die to a Shadow off of the top, which is definitely worrisome. I think I've talked myself into just playing a 4/3. That means we don't just die to any creature off of the top, but that also means they get the Lurrus. It's pretty rough. They're not discarding Lurrus, right? I guess that's plus first, and that can help us decide. And I guess I'm ditching Forgotten Cave. There's no way they ditch Lurrus here, right? Okay, and it is just land. So now their last card is Lurrus. I don't think there's a reason to allow them to draw anything else. The thing is, though, they play the Lurrus. They're going to be at a minimum of 6. They'll then get to replay Sprite Dragon. We can shock that. And then shock the Lurrus. Thing is, like, if I don't play the 4/3 and they just draw a Shadow, I die, right? Maybe not true while I'm at 9. Shadow is going to be a 6/6. They can fetch shock down to 9 and kill us. So this also gives +2/+0. So they don't even have to shock. This is really, really close. So if I Thoughtseize, just to recap, if I Thoughtseize take Lurrus, I die to a Shadow. Or a Scourge off of the top. Which is definitely worrisome. I think the position that puts us most firmly in the driver's seat is Liliana, Edict, and hope it works. So this is really, really close. So if I Thoughtseized just to recap, if I Thoughtseized take Lurrus, I die to a Shadow. Or a Scourge off of the top. If I just play a Bone Crusher, if I just pass and they draw a land, they can go Luris, Sprite Dragon. They'll have nothing in hand because that's assuming they draw a land. Then I could just kill whatever it is they draw. I think I'm passing. This has me not dying while still being very ahead. I think keeping up a stomp here is going to be pretty valuable. Grixis Shadow. Dr. Ligmayetta, good call on the Shadow. So here's the Luris. Right, and there's nothing they get to recast yet. So now we'll get to stomp this. You know, maybe I should just stomp them, put them to 4. Wait, what did I say about dying to Shadow and Scourge? I mean, the way that I played it, I think that avoids me dying to Shadow and Scourge. I think I want to keep the Liliana around. Let's shock this. Yeah, it was playing the 4/3 is what prevents it. Right? Your Inquisition, that doesn't matter. I guess Thoughtseize is just worse. Oh, I didn't play the 4/3. Yes, this is true. I talked about it and then just didn't do it. Now we're going to do it. So yeah, I still would have died to it off of the top, which was what I was trying to avoid, but I just didn't do it for whatever reason. Nice. Ooh, and they actually drew it. So we're going to block. I mean, we get to edict this thing. There's no more haste enabler in the yard, so an edict should just be good. Liliana is a house. I think I'm just gonna cast a 4/3 now. The stomp doesn't actually change the clock at all because I don't have the mana to do both. Mr. Marty, Lucifer, Michael. Oh, wow. Shadow is a good draw for the opponent, though. It's big enough to kill us. We need a good one here. Don't know why I didn't fetch. I shoulda. That's close. I mean, they just have the block, though. I guess we're going to plus charge up an edict. We don't have any... Well, actually, we do have a cycling land. So I can cycle this. If I hit exactly a push, I get to kill them now. Or not kill them now. Push, please. Wrong 1 mana black spell. So now we have to block again. We do have another edict, though. No thought for -1 with the Ren and 6. I think I'd rather just draw the card. Minusing them, putting them to 4. I guess that means that if we minus again and find a bolt, we get to kill them. They scooped? Well, I mean, we do have them dead on board, right? Because, like, we edict, we attack, we ping them. Wow, that was way closer than I was hoping it would have been. Alright, Spell Bomb for the Luris plan. Push for obvious reasons. You know... I think this may just be a Ghost Quarter matchup. They play, what, 2 basics? We can maybe just Stone Rain them out of the game? That could be funny. Don't think we're bringing in pillage. Ways to tell you're tired when you think Lovestruck Beast may be good in Modern. Yeah, it's usually Island Swamp, right? Yeah, I haven't seen a Mountain in a hot minute. I don't think I've ever seen Mountain, actually. I don't think I'm casting Brutality. Wildfire is interesting for a similar reason Ghost Quarter maybe. But I don't think this does enough. Alright, what are we cutting? I really like cutting the discard versus what is effectively a mid-range battle. If they go kind of the combo route, the discard can be good. But they are such trash draws later in the game. We have 25 lands here. Maybe we want to cut one out. It's possible I can bring in Kalidas. It doesn't size up well versus any of their stuff, which is the issue. Yeah, engineer will trade most of the time. It's pretty fragile to most of the removal, but I mean, so is everything, right? It's definitely possible. Let's put it in the maybe pile. I think these are the only two cards going in the maybe pile. What am I cutting? It's not Bloodbraid, it's not K-Command, it's not Bone Crusher, it's not Liliana. I don't think it's Renin 6. Renin 6 is actually probably pretty good in this matchup. With all the cycling lands. 2 cuts. I think I'm going to cut the Engineer while I'm on the draw. They seem pretty bad. Like if I tap out for an Engineer and they just kill it and attack, like I can fall really, really behind with that. I think on the play they're probably better. Oh, you're saying cut a land? Yeah, I could. It's weird because like Ghost Quarter is kind of a spell, but then kind of not. Yeah, I'll keep this. This might be leaning a little hard on my card advantage engines to pull some weight. I don't think I keep this in the absence of a push. But we do not have the absence of a push. Yeah, cutting land does seem on the free side. Swift Spear, that's interesting. Basic, not good. I don't think I want to wait on this, because then we could get Veil of Summered. And I don't think I want to play Basic Swamp, because then I can't run in 6 on turn 2. So what I think I'm doing here is fetch for a Blood Crypt. I never want to fetch Basic Forest, though, which is the issue. Which means that I guess I can get Overgrown Tomb, because then I can fetch Basic Mountain. Yeah. So we'll get Tomb, paying the life, cast a push. Yeah, I really, really don't want to get Veiled, so let's just do this now. Never mull a hand with Bob, that's right, KO. Got more discard, or I guess haven't had discard yet. I got a 4/4. That doesn't kill a 4/4. Yeah, I could still get the Renin 6 down. They get to one-shot it for free. Lands aren't exactly what I'm missing. I think this is a Bob turn. Hope that it lives. I think I'm still going to get the Basic Mountain now. Mountain. Dark Robfidant. Please live. Yeah, I mean, my hand was not excellent, but I think it was fine. Dark Bolt Stick, yeah. They're just casting Battle Rage now. Oh, I have to block, right? Well, I don't, right? Because it's going to be set by their own life total. So this is going to do... So they're going to hit me for 6, and then it's going to increase to 6. So I'm going to take 11 down to 4. I mean, the alternative is taking 10, so I guess I'm just going to 4. Flip Bloodbraid. We did not flip Bloodbraid. So they've got a 6/6. I don't have double red for 2 red spells in one turn. I think what's happening here is play Bone Crusher and tend on blocking with Bob. Yeah, if we were on the play, we would be more ahead. Because Renin 6 would have gone undisturbed for a turn or two. Maybe that shifts the focus. Take 2. Got him. Let's just grows that. There you go. Double Battle Rage. I think you should probably not play Battle Rage in this matchup. Just because with the density of removal spells that Jund typically has access to, you're only opening yourself up to a blowout. So I mean, it is actually kind of comforting to me that they're playing it because I think those cards are typically bad. That said, they looked fine there, but I mean, double Battle Rage with an 8/8 is going to be hard to beat. You were thinking I could have stomped the Swift Spear and then have had the push for the Scourge? That's true. That is something I could have done differently. The issue with that, I think, is that this means the opponent gets to untap, and then any prowess trigger means that Stomp no longer kills Swift Spear. So it's definitely close. I mentioned on the draw, sorry, on the play, maybe wanting to bring the Engineers in. I think this Ghost Quarter thing might just be too cute. It seems pretty win more. I wouldn't be upset if I don't squeeze this other Plague Engineer in. Vulnerable to a blowout versus removal. Then there's 3 removal spells in hand. See, the thing is that the removal spells that Abzan plays, Jund also plays. I think it's like only Path that we don't have in common. In terms of like 1 and 2 mana efficient stuff, Kaya's Guile is pretty cool. Kyle's Guile is like one of the cooler cards that I wish I could play that I can't. Alright, let's just submit this. I would, in fact, like to go first. Please don't break my win streak. This hand is pretty susceptible to discard. But I don't think I can mulligan it. Mulligans do really suck in the matchup, right? Let's go Meyer on 1. Yeah, last time I played Abzan, it went fine. I think I 3-2'd. There goes the Terminate. Alright, so we've got basic Mountain Blackleaf Cliffs. I think that means this is a stomping ground. It would be a good draw here, Dark Confidant. Or Renin 6. Not good. Yeah, it is. It's not looking good for the home team here. I mean, my opening 7 was not great. But I think it was, like, on the edge of good enough. They know about Bone Crusher. So they may very well have mutagenic growth. Oh, this is really good bait, huh? I guess I can just let this resolve take 2. If they play another Bauble, I'm going to be forced to fire it off. I take an additional 3 if I stomp and it doesn't work. They know about the Bone Crusher too. So I feel like they've got to have it. But again, like things like Battle Rage and Mutagenic Growth don't seem great versus Jund. So maybe I should just be reading that they don't in fact have it. Alright, I guess they didn't have it. So yeah, I took 2 life kind of without having to. Come on, deck. Liliana would be good here. Liliana would be really, really good here. I mean, we've got Bone Crusher at a minimum. There's the Renin 6. I mean, the longer Planeswalkers are in play, the better they typically tend to be, which would be a reason to play it. But I also like just getting a threat down. It's pretty close. I think I'm leaning Bone Crusher here. If they have additional copies of Storming Sprite, that would mean that I want to play Plague Engineer, but Plague Engineer dies to a lot of stuff. I guess the only difference between the two is Kolaghan's Command. Or sorry, yeah, Kolaghan's Command doesn't kill Bone Crusher. Nick would play Bone Crusher here. Now that's what I'm leaning towards. It's not looking great though. I would say that the benefit of not playing Renin 6 here is that they don't know about it. So maybe if they play Storming Sprite and don't have another land somehow, we can maybe ping it down. But they do know about Plague Engineer, so I feel like that's less likely. Scourge. That's the 3/3 for now. Even a Bolt would kill that. As long as I don't take life from myself. Come on, deck. That's fine. It's a 5/6. I think I'm attacking here. If the opponent had a shadow, they would have been able to cast it. So I think we're attacking. Fetch Shocking would not grow the Scourge. It would suck if they've got a Lightning Bolt, specifically. I think I'm still attacking. Please don't, like, Fetch Shock Bolt me. I guess they could also just Bolt the Scourge so there's no possible way it goes wrong. Okay, that worked. So I'm going to play Renin 6 first as to play around Stubborn Denial. And then I'm going to fetch for basic forests to cast Tarmogoyf. If they Stubborn Denial this, I might just let it go. Spell Pierce. Alright, well I guess my decision is a lot easier. I'm going to want to conserve life here to keep the Scourge small. Gwaif's big. I mean, most removal kills it, unfortunately. Found the shadow. I don't think they had this last turn. Okay, maybe they did. Fooled me. Come on, deck. That's a start. Luris is going to be pretty problematic, though. So we're just leading here. I could have shocked to play around another copy of Spell Pierce. Which could also bluff a potential a Fatal Push if it doesn't work. I mean, they've got to be careful in that Gwaif does just kill them in one hit. I'm pretty weak to a Battle Rage, though. Yeah, big donk Gwaif. We saw that they kept in both Battle Rages in Game 2, so I wouldn't put it past them to still have both Battle Rages in the deck. I mean, they were on the play last game, so now that they're on the draw, maybe they've taken them out. Yeah, this is going to be a nail biter for sure. Swift Spear is really interesting because that's a way to block block basically anything, but then they would die to removal spell. So we want to find something that costs 2 or less here, I think, because then we can empty our hand and then plus a Liliana. Flag removal would be good. 2 mana threat would be good. I'll even accept like a Bloodbraid or something. I just don't want to find like another 3 mana clunky thing like that. I could just not plus this Liliana, so I get to keep the Plague Engineer. Thing is, like, eating away at their hand seems good though. Like if I plus this Liliana, and then play other Liliana and just plus that one too, I can get their hand empty, which means that Luris from their hand wouldn't be such a big concern. And they can't really even alpha at the Liliana, because then I could just kill them on the backswing. So I kind of like just Liliana plus, Liliana plus. If I Edict with second Liliana, best it's going to do is get a Swift Spear, which doesn't seem good. I think I'm going to double Liliana plus here. If their last card is Stubborn Denial, I'll still be left with a Liliana. At Edict range, nonetheless. Alright, keep the new one. They did discard a Stubborn Denial. So, hopefully the last card... I guess it can't be another Stubborn Denial. It's another Swift Spear, okay. Big draw step. If they can brick here, I think we may just start pulling ahead. But, if they hit really anything solid... Like, Claim Fame would be pretty nutty. They drew a push. Fudge. That's a good one. So shadows are 7s each. So I can take 2 hits from the shadows and not die. They can't attack all, because then I can block Swift Spear and then maybe kill them on the crackback. If I were them, I'd probably swing with a single shadow. They're going at Liliana. Alright, well I guess I let this happen. Not playing Maelstrom Pulse currently. That push was a really good draw step for him. Big one. Come on, Bloodbraid? Another Liliana. Yeah, I mean, Bloodbraid into a Bolt would obviously just kill him, which would be the actual factual nuts. Liliana continues to make it interesting. Definitely going to Edict. Like, if they sack Swift Spear, I can't attack because that would grow the shadows to a lethal range. I have to just pass again. If they draw any land, I would just die, right? Because I'd be forced to trade off. So it's really not looking good here. And that means I have to block, because even paying 1 means that I get hit for 16. I need Bloodbraid into something, I believe. There are 3 of those. Like, I needed them to draw, like, basic lands here, basically. Unfortunately, I think our streak may be coming to an end. They don't have to fetch here. In fact, they shouldn't, because it actually does make a difference. Like, if I Bloodbraid into one of my 2 damage spells, it could definitely change. Come on, Bloodbraid. Bloodbraid. Damn it. I saw red-green, and then I got really, really excited. That doesn't do anything, right? It buys back a Mire, and we're dead. Darn. Alright, we're dead. Wah, wah. Alright, let's do that one more. I've been pretty good about finishing the whole league, which is 5 matches anyway, so let's just do one more. Yeah, that match was really, really close. It really came down to that last draw step where the opponent found the push off the top. Because if we can keep that Goyf in play, they just don't have a good attack. So like, any lands there, and I think we like are in a very good position to actually just win. Alright. We are 3-1 on the day. We're 3-1. Yeah, you typed that as I was saying it. Yeah, we're 3-1 so far. So with this list, we are now a combined 17-2. We got a follow. Oh, a raid from Giglio MTG. Thanks for the raid. I really appreciate it. We're playing the ManaTraders event as the stream title stream title may indicate, and we are currently 3-1, playing Bone Crusher Giant and Jund. We got a follow too by Rubik Marvin. I appreciate the support. Welcome everybody. Still waiting in this queue. Oh, another follow. Giglio MTG, thank you for the follow and the raid. I appreciate it. I think your 2 follows mean I just hit 300 follows on Twitch, which is pretty exciting. I think I'm 1 sub off of 500 on YouTube. As a Jund Shadow player, happy to support fellow Overgrown Tomb player. Yeah. Those who play Overgrown Tomb stick together, right? Unless they also play God of the Shrine. Cough, cough, KO. My YouTube and my Twitter are all listed under my picture right here. You play Blood Crypt and Stomping Ground? Yes, fashionable. That is the correct combination, right? We're still waiting in the queue here. So for those that are new here, let me show you the list that we're working with. We are a combined 17-2 in my last 19 matches with this exact list. And one of those match losses was to an unfortunate mana situation. And then I think our first real loss just happened. So the streak was just broken, unfortunately. Do you think a really interesting play I should have considered is attacking with Bone Crusher against their 2 shadows and Spear, but bluff the burn spell so they would have blocked with the Swift Spear, then make them sack a shadow? Thinking about it. We got paired. So we attack with, you're saying attack Bone Crusher. If it gets through, they go to 2 and are afraid of a burn spell, so they probably don't let it through. So you're saying they would block Swift Spear, and then we can edict them down to 1 shadow? That is interesting. That is interesting, yeah. Just jealous. I'm not jealous of your removal. We got the best removal in the game. Look at this. We got Kolagon's Command. We got Bone Crusher Giant, apparently. Alright, we are paired. We are creating the match versus Mahers. M-A-H-E-R-S. Alright, copy. Constructed. Modern Tournament Practice. Create. So yeah, that was your thought process. Gives you the best chance of winning through if they called your bluff. Yeah, it is a bluff. So I mean, it's risky no matter how you look at it. But I mean, the line I took didn't have me winning either, right? 17-2. How? Good God! You hope you never play me. You would outclass me with any deck. I try to play as tight as possible. That said, I still do make a handful of errors. I've been playing this deck for a hot minute, and I definitely still think I've got a lot to learn. I am 3-1 in this ManaTraders event, Ian. We playing against Heliod? Looks like it. Alright, so we're gonna push this thing off the side of this this boat here. I think they're on Sky Sovereign. Does that make sense to anyone else? I don't actually know. I'm not super in tune with all the flavor. Yep. Oh, Renin 6. Okay, that's good. Definitely gonna play the Goyf here. I hate the stupid forest. You can't escape the Croaks off of it. Could play the Renin 6 here, but I would have to fetch to get the land back, and they just have pressure for it already. Wait, are they who? Another Renin 6. Alright, well, I'm really hoping we don't just die to combo, which is completely possible. Yeah, another game where being on the play would have been a huge deal. So, I can kill the Mentor. If this means that I just straight die to the combo, unfortunately. The issue is, I don't have another good line. Like, if I play the Croaks, I still die to combo, and if I play Ren and 6, I still die to combo. Doing one of these two would bluff removal. I guess it would have to be Ren and 6, because I can't have a removal spell off of basic forest. But I just don't think that's a game where I'm realistically winning. I think my highest win percentage play is just to go for the Kolaghan's command and hope they don't have it. So that's the plan. What land am I getting? Definitely want another red source. And I can't get basic mountain, so it's either Blood Crypt, Stomping Ground. I think I'm going to get Blood Crypt. Yeah, let's get the Blood Crypt. We've got lots of black and red requirements. Say yes, and then hope you don't have it. We played against Heliod in round 1 of this ManaTraders event, and we absolutely destroyed him, which was nice. You'll gain your 2. Put a counter on your Heliod, yep, and then we'll smack for some amount. Looks like 3. Alright, don't just have it, please. If you've got it, you've got it. What do I think takes more skill to play, Jund or Blue-White? I think just because of discard spells, I'm going to say Jund. Like, with Blue-White, there's definitely a lot of threat assessment in terms of what you want to counter. But I feel like in terms of what you want to kill with just a removal spell, the same thing can be said about Jund. So revealed Ballista. So it's looking a lot like I want to both play Ren and 6 and Croxa here. Yeah, I mean, that looks like just about the only line that I've got. Let's Croxa first, so the opponent discards without information. Do some yielding. And they didn't just have combo, which is nice. They could still have a company, which would be problematic. There's another Heliod. Alright, well, we've got enchantment now. We're attacking for 4 more than we were before. They are 2 loyalty away from also just turning on Heliod. Oh, I can't cast Ren and 6. This is something I had not considered. I would have needed to shock, so yeah, that was an error. Should have had the Ren and 6 in play here, but I doofed. Alright, they drew it, okay. I think what Rubik Marvin may be getting at is the difference between proactive and reactive. I think Jund has the ability to do both. You're proactive in that you've got discard, and then reactive in that you've got removal spells, whereas with something like Blue-White Control, your counter spells can only ever be used reactively. Because like they have to do something first. They don't do anything after the threat has already resolved. Alright, so we're playing against Heliod. Engineer. Push. Brutality. On the play, I like the Wildfires because you can hit the Utopia Sprawl. Let's take out Kolaghan's command, some of the top end. And then the discard spells tend to be pretty terrible draws going late. But we are on the play where they're better. I think I'm going to cut some number of them. Inquisition before Thoughtseize because Thoughtseize can take the Collected Company. How is this looking? On the draw, I'm probably cutting some Lilianas, but on the play, I still think they're probably pretty great. Need 1 cut here. I think it's just going to be Brutality. Brutality just seems like the worst card in the deck right now. Sure. Yeah, let's definitely go first. Yeah. It's not exciting. But I mean, we've got Thoughtseize into Goyf and the kill spell. It's definitely reasonable. Let's get Overgrown Tomb. We can play Mountain next turn for Tarmogoyf. Overgrown Tomb, where are you at? I'm like, I could maybe save the Thoughtseize to use on a turn where my opponent is closer to comboing, but then I get blown out by Veil of Summer. That is not something I'm interested in. So I could just take their Accelerant here, which would make their hand very awkward. Because like this Thoughtseize, the only real hole that I get to punch here is the Utopia Sprawl. Thing is, like, Skyclave Apparition is going to be such a headache. Like if I take Skyclave here, I go Goyf on 2. They're just going to go Skyclave again on 2. I think I have to take the Sprawl, and then just work through the Skyclaves. Their hand's quite good. Goyf time. You're saying that I should maybe keep discard because it's the only way I can hit Heliod. The issue is that, like, it hits it out of their hands, but these matches go so many cards deep that they're pretty often to just find one off of the top, and discard never ever hits a card off of the top. But it always gets blown out by Veil of Summer if it's not turn 1. I mean, second Goyf was a fine draw. I guess I can play second Goyf, play Ravine. They're going to Skyclave 1, but I can keep attacking. It's not looking great. I still do think that taking the Utopia Sprawl was probably correct. Because, like, no matter what 3 I take, they're just going to start pummeling 3-drops on top of my head. Just a whole turn sooner. And I don't have a fetch for Revolt, so this is probably a good turn as any to just get the Ravine down. Alright, so I would expect a Skyclave to kill a Goyf here. Exile. Not yet, no. Going for a walk? Got my dog under my feet. He's gonna go for a walk now. Hey, look, Heliod off the top.
You heard?
Huh?
He's like waiting for you because you're the one that asked us to go for a walk.
Alright, so now I have to keep... Okay, that's a good draw. I was going to say I have to keep a Revolt source available. Yes, let's attack. There is not an instant in the yard already. So I could bolt the opponent here, putting them to 11, hitting them for 8, putting them to 3. Which means that any one Goyf next turn is lethal, and we've got to push to get it out of the way. If they play a Spike Feeder here, I'll have the push to respond to it with. Yeah, I kind of like bolting them, just really making sure they have to have it here. The issue here is Veil of Summer. If they've got Veil of Summer, Bolt would have protected me, whereas Push wouldn't. But I think I like really putting the onus on them to actually try to kill me here. We're going for it. Say okay. I guess it's technically correct. It's technically correct to let this resolve, right? So that way they have to target this first. So that way, because like now they're going to get to just put the counter on Heliod, but as it turns out, it doesn't matter because we get to kill them anyway. Pickles8508, thank you for the follow. I appreciate your support. Alright, so... yeah. So yeah, technically, I guess like if I'm trying to be like very technically accurate, I should have let that trigger resolve so they'd have to target the spike feeder to like actually demonstrate the loop, and then Heliod gets one less counter. But if assuming the game is ending, it just doesn't matter, right? Yeah, I don't think we barely squeezed that out. I think we just played it tight and got rewarded. Like, if we were short on removal spells to interact with the combo, I would not have thrown Bolt Face. So I think that was just good resource management. We are on the draw. I mentioned Liliana being a lot worse on the draw. Yeah, Jun, keep it high and tight. Yeah, you've got to play tight with Jun or else you're going to have a bad time, right? Alright, so I would like to shave the Lilianas. It's a 3-mana thing that kills their worst thing, and on the draw, their worst thing is likely to be a lot worse than their good stuff, if that makes any sense. And it also gets blown out by Veil. 3-mana sorcery get blown out by Veil is not something I'm interested in on the draw. I think I am more incentivized to bring in Brutality. That one can at least target something. I would like to cut another Liliana. Maybe I just bring in an Inquisition. They're just such terrible draws. I mean, the things that I could bring in... I think I want this Kolaghan's command before I want the Liliana. But that said, I really don't want just another 3-mana thing that gets blown out by Veil. Come on, Magic Online. Let me bring in my Kolaghan's command. Thank you. Maybe that's Magic Online telling me that I shouldn't bring it in. I would still not like to bring it in, but I don't think Inquisition, Spellbomb, Kroxa is much better. I definitely think it's better than Liliana. I mean, I could just bring in more top end, but against the combo, I just don't think I can afford to slam a Bloodbraid and pray. Like, I kind of have to play the short game, you know? With the cheap stuff that lets me hold up interactive stuff. I'm not excited about this Kolaghan's command, but I'm going to run it. Yeah, it kills Ballista. Like, it does still have its niche 2-for-1s. Like, worst case, you can still have them discard, or like you can kill a thing, buy back a creature. It definitely has uses, at least I think more than Liliana, which is why I swapped it. I want to thank everybody who's taken their time to hang out with me tonight. Special shout out to everyone who stuck around post raid. Usually I know that raids don't usually maintain high numbers, but I had like 20 before the raid. Now I've got a little over 60, so a good handful of you decided to stay, and I definitely appreciate it. Oh, and another follow by a Stormcrow. I like that name. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. All right, well, I'm gonna ship this. This is probably just way too slow. I'm not excited about Kolaghan's command being in the deck, period, so I'm not going to lean on only Ren and 6 here. We're on the draw. They've got Veil of Summer in the deck, presumably, so let's just hope we don't get absolutely dumpstered by it. Let's ditch a mountain. We can go Stomping Ground here, and then our mana's pretty perfect. They've got the Sprawl. Yuck, as opposed to the thing that we can push. Well, at least we've got Thoughtseize on the turn where it's good. More lands, not what I'm wanting to see. They've got Path, Heliod, Spike Feeder. Let's take the Heliod. Their hand's pretty good. Luckily their paths are actually kind of dead. Working on you at your towards your 50. I mean, I've been doing this a lot longer than you, Nick. So I mean, I wouldn't get too discouraged by working on 50. 50 is still impressive. More lands, yikes. Well, I guess I'm just gonna push this thing, and again, I'd like to play around Veil of Summer where possible. So let's just do it now. Let's get, I guess, Overgrown Tomb. Say no. You'll gain your 4. So we've got Path, and 2 fresh ones coming. Do I think Hymn to Tarak will be in Modern Horizons 2, and if so, will it be good? I think it would be good, and that's why I think it won't be in Modern Horizons 2. That card is absurd. Have a good one, Rubik. I appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, no Coco one time. They didn't have the land, so that's good. Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize is interesting. I mean, this Kolaghan's command isn't doing much of anything right now anyway. So I think I'm going to cast the Thoughtseize and feel really sad when they've got the Veil. Like, we know we're at least taking a path, but I mean, Veil would be pretty bad. They didn't have it. They've got Spike Feeder again, Skyclave, Path. I think I'm taking the Spike Feeder. It puts them one step farther from the combo. They've got the paths for all of my threats anyway. So I'm going to take the Spike Feeder. Because, like, also, Spike Feeder is the card that they would gladly play onto an empty board. None of these cards are particularly effective if they just continue breaking off. You've been unimpressed with him in Legacy? I mean, cards can perform differently in different formats. But, yeah, I agree that him hasn't really shined recently. I'm also by no means an authority on Legacy. Hey, yo, that's what we want to see. That's what we want to see. So, the best case here would be, I guess, an additional threat. Cleansing Wildfire. Yes, please. Lily would be good as well. But, I mean, that's just something that they get to Skyclave. So, I mean, Wildfire is kind of perfect here. It's Bloodbraid doing its best impression of a 3-for-1. This is game 3, right? Yeah. If they path this, I'm kind of happy about it. Oh yeah, no, I know you didn't mean to like explicitly disagree or agree. I was just commenting on like an additional thing to consider, you know, just to add to the discussion a little bit. Right, so they're choosing not to path, which I don't think is surprising. If they Skyclave my Bloodbraid, I get a 4/4 out of the deal. That feels kind of good for me, right? Oof, Renin 6 is also fine. We don't have anything to combo it with, but let's definitely lead on attack. We're not out of the woods yet. The opponent could just draw land and have a company. Yeah, BBE is a 4/1 if they path it. Granted, the 4th resource not actually worth a whole lot. Like, I don't actually need the land. But it is strictly speaking a 4/1, yes. Let's get... I guess we only have one green source in play. We've got lots of red, though. And green is so bad because it doesn't play Kroxa. Didn't I take Kroxa out, though? Yeah, I did. So Forest feels pretty free. I guess none of the cards in hand actually have a green requirement, though. Let's get Mountain. And now we get to go Renin 6 and Dark Confidant. They're going to have to deal with one of the two. Maybe both. Do this now before they can like Celestial Purge it or something without me using it. Not out of the woods yet, but definitely slowly shifting into the attack gear. Okay, it's interesting whether or not we want to kill that just to keep them off of mana. I think the answer is yes, given that we can do it for basically free with Renin 6. Alright, I guess now we can get the green. We've got loads of black mana. And I think I'm not fetching here because we're taking the turn off to use the Renin 6, which means that if we draw Fatal Push, we may not have a reliable way to revolt. So let's just not fetch. We need another threat. Oh, this is where it's going to start looking great. The opponent's got another Path to Exile because they were both this art as far as I can remember. Alright, let's still kill that with that. Let's just, I guess, play a 4/3. Cast a Bone Crusher. It does its job well. It doesn't do either job fantastically, but it does both jobs. Different art biting him in the ass. Assuming I remember that correctly, can anyone else confirm that they had 2 of the same art, or they were 2 different arts and I just didn't see? And they've conceded. So we're 2-0 versus Heliod. Like people have been saying that Heliod is probably a bad matchup for Jund, but my experience with it has been pretty positive. I think I'm a combined 4-1 against it now, including all of the various leagues that I've done. So we are 4-1 on the day, which is pretty nice. So we are a combined 18-2 with this list. So overall, I'm still really excited with how this list is performing, and I think the ManaTraders series it can provide for some really good data, because while playing in leagues is fine and all, like I said at the beginning of the video in the deck tech, people who are also trying to qualify are probably playing the deck that they think is like top 3 best decks, depending on what they expect to see. But I think for the most part, there's not going to be too many deviants. And that was kind of the case, right? Like we played against Shadow, we played against Heliod twice. We did play against like one Jeskai Blink deck, which was kind of funky, but that felt like a fantastic matchup anyway. So I mean, I think this deck is legitimately great. And Bone Crusher has continued to look excellent. Like neither side of the card is fantastic, but neither side is bad. And when you need a card to perform a specific job, having a card that can perform multiple of those jobs to maintain like maximum relevance is like that flexibility is super nice. And it's come up multiple times where like I've needed to draw a burn spell and I've needed to draw a threat. Like we just saw in that last game, like I needed to draw a threat. But there have been other games where I've needed to draw removal, and then Bone Crusher just fills both spots very well. And then sometimes it's just a 2-for-1. It seems like exactly what Jund wants to be doing, albeit not super mana efficiently. But I think what it lacks in efficiency, it makes up for in versatility. This card has been absolutely phenomenal. We're 18-2, basically 19-1. I think this is the real deal in Jund. So I guess I've already kind of started my deck tech for those who are new here, which is apparently a lot of you. I like to do a deck tech pre and post the recording, and then actually post the recording. So pun not intended. But this list has been extremely strong. And again, I think one of the other real draws to this version of the deck is we play so many burn spells. I've been shooting opponents down. We saw, like, I think match 4, I don't remember what the deck was. It might have been match 3. The opponent was at 8, and we attacked with the Bloodbraid, forcing them to act, and we just bolted them 3 times. Like, we just kill people, like, at instant speed. We've got 4 bolt, Renin 6 not instant speed, but we've got 4 bolt, 2 Kolaghan's commands, 3 Bone Crusher Giant, Kroxa kind of a burn spell, sometimes Bloodbraid, I guess, if you want to count burst damage, like with haste. But I mean, there's so many direct damage spells in this deck that we have an entirely new angle that previous versions without Bone Crusher haven't really had. Like, we would still obviously have the bolts, the Kroxas, the Renin 6s, and the Kolaghan's commands, but only having 10-ish things that do like 2 or 3 damage apiece doesn't really contribute to a cohesive game plan. But having spells 11 through 13 or even more that contribute to this whole other game plan, it just opens up a whole new angle of attack, and it's just fantastic. Like, Bone Crusher on its as a standalone has been amazing, and then like as a quote unquote synergy with the rest of the deck, it just opens up whole new avenues to victory. Like I had a game last league where I went end of turn, Kolaghan's command, shock you, get back Bone Crusher, shock you with the Bone Crusher, and that won the game. So like the reach in this game is pretty consistently amazing, and it's felt so good. I think this main deck is 100% right now what I would submit to a like an actual competitive event. With this list, I've got a sample size of 20, but that said, I don't think I've played the same matchup. I think I've played the same matchup maybe twice, 2 separate times. So I think I've got about 18 different decks under the belt now, including Eldrazi Tron, but not including regular Tron, which is something I am still interested in testing. And we've just absolutely slaughtered them all. Bone Crusher being as versatile as it has been, and opening up the new pretty much reliable game plan of, oh, you're at 8, bolt you down. That all of these new angles have made this list feel really, really solid, and I feel like the results have been showing it. So I'm gonna wrap up the recording there. I'm gonna stay on the stream for a few minutes after I shut off the recording to talk some gems with y'all in chat, because there's still a lot of you here, and I really appreciate all the support. So for those watching here on YouTube, I thank you for sticking around this long. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and that like button. It's a great free way to support the content that I make. And until next time, Jund them out, and I hope you have a good one.